The book Fight Club revolves around a nameless character. In the beginning of the book, he and his friend, Tyler Durden, are on top of a building and Tyler has a gun in the main character's mouth. Now you might be wondering, how did he end up in this situation? The main character tells us how he ends up in this situation using a flashback. It's rewind time. The main character is an insomniac who feels empty inside. The only way he can feel alive is by going to support groups for horrible diseases and pretend that he has them. One day, this girl named Marla comes on by and eyeballs him. Soon, he realizes that Marla is going to the same support groups as him. It feels like Marla is stalking him and confronts her. Marla says that she'll call him out on his BS, so he stops. Afterwards, they somehow build up a good relationship together. On a random day, the main character is at a nude beach. Tyler is pulling logs out of the water. Tyler calls out, "What time is it?" The main character looks at his watch and replies, "Where?" "Here, where else, bro?" It is 4:06 p.m. This is how Tyler Durden and the main character met. After his trip to the beach, the main character comes home to find out that his apartment has been bombed. He hits up Tyler, goes out to a bar, and asks if he could crash at his place. Tyler said he could if he did one thing. That was to punch him as hard as he could. So he did. Then him and Tyler get into a fist fight out of joy. This was how Fight Club was created. Tyler and the main character gets a group of people and they have a fight in the basement of the bar after hours. The first rule about Fight Club is that you don't talk about Fight Club. The second rule about Fight Club is that you don't talk about Fight Club. Now, Tyler and the main character move together in an old house on Paper Street. Marla starts dropping by, and Tyler is giving her the D. The main character gets mad about this for two reasons. She's soaking up all of Tyler's time, and he's been having dreams about smashing her. A few days pass, and the main character goes to his job. His boss calls him out for looking like he got knocked out, which he did. Then he tells him to go home. When he gets home, Tyler lectures him like an Asian parent does when their child brings home an 89% on their test. Tyler burns the main character's hand with lye, then he kisses it. Tyler then tells him how to make soap and how to make bombs with soap. At the end, he tells the main character not to snitch on him. Marla brings her mother's fat to their house and Tyler straight up robs her from it. He uses the fat to make soap and sell it to the crazy rich folks. Now they start balling out of control. Eventually, Fight Club becomes more popular. It keeps growing and growing, so much that there are fight clubs all over the country. With all this power, Tyler abuses it and makes Project Mayhem. Tyler gathers people at the bottom of their lives, breaks them, and makes them into hardcore thugs. Tyler has them vandalize public property, get into fights on the streets, and even kill people. Back at their house on Paper Street, there's so many workers there that the main character doesn't even feel comfortable there. One night, he goes out for a ride with this random mechanic he just met. In the car, there are 3 other people, and he finds a birthday cake on his seat. The mechanic was assigned by Tyler to have 3 human sacrifices. He starts driving towards traffic. He then asks, "What is something you want to do before you die?" The main character is tripping out and screams, "I want to quit my job." Really, the mechanic doesn't care about what the main character wants to do. He just needs answers from the other 3. Eventually, they go back to the house and drop off the main character. The main character has noticed that Tyler has disappeared and is wondering, "Yo, where is he?" He starts looking and flying out to places looking for him. Every place he goes to, some guys that got messed up start treating him like he's some celestial being. He's tripping out now and he calls Marla. When Marla picks up the phone, she says, "What do you need, Tyler?" Now, the main character is like, "What? I ain't Tyler." Yep, that's right. The main character is Tyler Durden. 2 people in one body. Tyler has been taking over the main character's body whenever he's asleep. This is why the main character feels like he never gets sleep. The main character is like, "What? I guess since I'm Tyler now, I can cancel everything." Nope, that ain't happening! He tries to tell everyone to go home, but it's like telling Asians to stop eating rice or noodles, to continue onwards. Now the main character is pretending that he's an anime character and saying the only way he can save mankind is by sacrificing himself, like Goku did when he was fighting Cell. Now, we're back to the beginning of the story. The main character is at the top of the building, and he is the one holding the gun in his mouth. All the people from the support groups start showing up and telling him that he doesn't need to do this. But then, the main character is like, "This is the only way." He shoots, but his aim is so bad that he couldn't even hit water if he fell out of a boat. The guy hit his cheek. He wakes up, and the people in Project Mayhem are like, "Yo, we still doing this, right?" These guys are beating on each other for no gosh dang reason. They must be tripping. The actual reason why these guys are beating on each other is because they aren't doing what they want to. They are fulfilling the lives of society, and instead of doing what they want to, society is controlling their lives. Take the people in Fight Club as an example. You saw the kid who works in a copy center. A month ago you saw this kid who can't remember to 3-hole punch in order or put colored slip sheets between the copy packets. But this kid was a god for 10 minutes when you saw him kick the air out of an accountant representative twice his size. Polinick is ridiculing that even young people hate their boring jobs. In the fight, it isn't two people who would be seen as people who fight. It's people who work office jobs, fulfilling the small needs of society. Tyler is affected by this as well. Tyler's job as a projectionist annoys him. He doesn't do much. He just makes sure that the movies run well. This was back when movies were still shot on an actual tape. Tyler hated his job. As for, the work was boring and the pay was crap. Tyler, as we know, ends up quitting this job and doesn't die doing this job that he hates. The main character is haunted by this boring life cycle as well. At his job, he works at an office and does work on a computer for a company. He has an average office job and it is perceived as a boring rinse and repeat job. He hates his job and wished that he quit. As he said, "I wish I'd quit my job." He wants to escape his lifeless, boring job. There are things blocking the main character's life from making decisions that he wants to. Even Tyler is blocking the main character from making decisions that he wants to. The main character states, "Before I met Tyler, I was planning to buy a dog and name it Entourage." There are many things in our lives that will prevent us from doing things that we want. Even things that we believe helped us may prevent us from doing what we truly want. We don't do things that we want to do because something comes up and changes our plans. The main character writes about the message of the story in a haiku. He comes up with, "Worker bees can leave, even drones can fly away. The queen is their slave. The bees resemble them, as for they are workers. Even drones can fly away" is a way of saying that they are programmed to follow instructions, but they still have the capability to break free and do what they want to do. Random everyday people die without fulfilling things that they wanted to do. In a scene where the main character was being driven around the mechanic asks the people in the back what they want to do before they die. They respond with, "Ride a horse, build a house, and get a tattoo." Everyday people aren't doing what they want to do. They might plan to do it in the future, but then they might not get the chance to. The meaning of this passage is to do what you want to do, because today might be your last day. Tyler breaks free from the cycle. This is why he was able to create Project Mayhem. In the beginning, we see Tyler as a rebellious worker. At his job as a projectionist, he added pornographic photos into the films. The main character described the films as spliced with Tyler's single-framed flashes of pornography. This isn't the only example of him breaking the rules. Another example is when he takes a leak in the soup. He doesn't care about losing his job. He's making fun of everything that would be taken as serious. He wasn't afraid to lose his job when all of his co-workers were. At the end of the book, the reasoning of Project Mayhem was given. One of Tyler's workers states, "We're going to break up civilization so we can make something better out of this world." The purpose of Project Mayhem is to make a better place. The fault of this world is that society is controlling the lives of everyone instead of everyone being in charge of their own life. Tyler created his project in order to fix the thing that he hated most. He hated the fact that he did so little compared to what he actually wanted to do. Overall, the main character has two personalities inside of him. He actually had sex with Marla. He held all those jobs. He was the person he wanted to be when he was asleep. He did those things that he couldn't bring himself to do. He took on the problem that he faced and tried to change it for everyone.